When classifying the flow, we can have different classifications. First one is a classifications of if the flow is steady or unsteady. What does that exactly means? So if you can see here, a steady flow on the left-hand side is more relevant to the changing of the discharge. So if the discharge is changing over the time, we can say the flow is unsteady. For example, once we have like a storm comes, or we have like a flood, the wave of the storm or flood changes the flow at any time, at any cross section. For example, on this kind of like a variations of the discharge over the time, you can see the magnitude of the discharge is changing over the time. At the beginning is here, as little as this, but after a time, it just increased like this one. So we're just gonna see here that the flow is just changes, and we experience the flood peak here, and the same for here as well. So this flow that changes over the time, we can say this is unsteady. However, on the left-hand picture, you can see the flow is not changing over the time at any cross section. For example, if you have a cross section here, there is no like the changes of the flow, and the depth and the velocity is completely the same. So this is categorized as a steady flow. The next classifications that we have is if the flow is uniform or non-uniform. Imagine we have the constant discharge. There is no change with the discharge, flow discharge. However, if for any cross section, or for one cross section to the next cross section, if the velocity or the cross sectional area of the flow or the velocity is not changing from one to the other one, for example, on the left-hand figure, we say that flow is uniform flow, which is not changing of the velocity or cross-section area. Cross-section area in here or in here is completely the same. However, if, for example, we have like some sort of like a bolt in here and a rock somewhere in here, but the flow discharge is fixed, constant, is not changing. However, the depth of the flow here and behind is kind of like the rock, and on the top of the rock, the depth are different, and also the same velocity are also different. Here, there's like a slow velocity, but here on the top of the rock, we have the high velocity, and here there are different velocity and the cross section as well. So on the right hand side picture is called non-uniform flow, and the left hand side picture is called uniform flow discharge. So this is these are two popular classifications of the flow that we will deal with that all the time. Normally within the undergraduate level, we're just discussing with the uniform and non-uniform, and also we just looked at the steady flow as well. For unsteady flow, we will discuss it in master's level.